A big focus, Tahawwur Rana, an accused in the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, is being brought to India in a special plane after he exhausted his legal options in the United States. This is what our sources have confirmed. In fact, that plane would need refueling and is expected to touch down either tonight or early tomorrow. This comes after the US Supreme Court rejected Tahawwur Rana's petition requesting a stay on his extradition to India. In fact, the application for stay addressed to the Chief Justice and referred to the court has been denied. This is what the Supreme Court order read on Monday. The 64-year-old, though, was lodged in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles, and he is associated with Pakistani-American terrorist David Coleman Headley, one of the main conspirators of the 26/11 attacks. Headley conducted a recce of Mumbai before the attacks by posing as an employee of Rana's immigration consultancy, and investigators claim that Rana personally traveled to Mumbai from Dubai ahead of the attacks to ensure that all the relevant arrangements were in place. In fact, joining us on the broadcast with a quick view is 26/11 Eyewitness, a businessman who was attending a dinner at the Taj, Mr. Dilip Mehta. Mr. Mehta, thank you so much for making time for us. Now, as we understand, Tahawwur Rana is being brought to India in a special plane after he's exhausted all his legal options in the US. Your first reaction?
You would have no idea how happier man I am. And I was always believing that justice is delayed but not denied. Today, it's a very, very big victory of all Indians who have been really waiting for this and giving now a situation where Pakistan will have to put their foot in the mouth and get the idea about all the interviews and credentials and the names of the army officers who were involved with him in that terror attack. So the question now for India is that how soon this kind of interrogation and will take place, which is going to be a big event for all the Indians here. I would thank personally Mr. Modi, who requested President Trump for during his visit last that this man has to be extradited to India, and India did succeed. So I feel that all said and done, the man who is the chief perpetrator of the terror attack here is now brought to books, and full marks to Indian authorities for having been able to accomplish this task as of now.
Right, as many as 166 people, including 6 Americans, had actually been killed in this nearly 60-hour assault that had sent shockwaves across the country, the memories of which are still very painful for many. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. In fact, our reporters have also been tracking all the finer details for us. Sunil Prabhu has been tracking the latest as far as the NIA is concerned. He joins us from outside the NIA office. From Parliament, we have Aishwarya Jain, and from Mumbai, we have Radhika Ramaswamy joining us. Let's get in a word as far as the NIA is concerned with Sunil first. Sunil, the National Investigation Agency recently obtained the court order seeking the transfer of the case from Mumbai to Delhi. So take us through what's next. Is the NIA likely to seek the custodial interrogation once Mr. Rana's arrived?
That's right. There is a special designated NIA court here in Delhi, and this will be seen as an isolated case in terms of trying. And it will be, of course, a multi-agency probe. The NIA has people, and they will, once he arrives in New Delhi, be interrogated by a multi-agency about the key conspirators. He is, of course, a conspirator. Who are the other conspirators? Who are the other accomplices? As was pointed out by one of those who was present when this ghastly, terrific, horrible terrorist incident took place. So those who were responsible, we have been able to get the terrorists killed, and Mohammed Kasab was finally hanged to death. Now, of course, is the accomplices, the key conspirators, people who had done the recce, who had ensured that this kind of coordinated attack on the Indian state cannot get away. And it's in that context that the NIA will work with various agencies, interrogate them, and then, of course, place that charge sheet because they will have to take this forward, and in the designated court, the law very clearly specifies that for any act outside the country, then it has to be tried in Delhi and not in this case where the incident was in Mumbai. So most likely it is going to be depending on, of course, how the charge sheet is filed and the interrogation that takes place here in New Delhi.
Sunil, thank you so much for joining us with those crucial details. Do stay on with us as I get in a word from Mumbai as well. Radhika Ramaswamy has been tracking the details too. Radhika, we are given to understand that high security cells in Delhi's Tihar and Mumbai's Arthur Road prison have been asked to be prepared for a high-risk detainee.
Absolutely. Mumbai police is all set as far as Tahawwur Rana's extradition is concerned and his subsequent trial is concerned. Of course, prisons have been readied for Tahawwur Rana. But, if I may take you through Tahawwur Rana's role in particular, of course, he's been named in the charge sheet. It was David Coleman Headley who had named him. How his visit was facilitated by Tahawwur Rana is something he had said in that deposition before the court. In fact, Tahawwur Rana had set up his immigration center in Mumbai, which sort of paved way for David Headley to make multiple visits to the city, to conduct recce as well, and also that Tahawwur Rana himself was in touch with several of the handlers, and he was, of course, responsible for conspiracy, is something that the Mumbai police had also said in its charge sheet, apart from central agencies. And very importantly, Mumbai police had filed a supplementary charge sheet. This happened more than a year ago. In that supplementary charge sheet, it speaks about how Tahawwur Rana himself had visited Mumbai days, weeks before 26/11. He had stayed in a hotel in Powai. He had conducted recce of several of the landmarks and also communicated with David Coleman Headley and several other people associated with this entire terror attack. And the communication between David Headley, emails, phones, chats, all of that is also part of the evidence, is what the Mumbai police officials have also told us. So yes, incriminating evidence against Tahawwur Rana is what officials have told us. So therefore, it will be very interesting to see what kind of information will be extracted from him, because there are other terrorists who also been named in the original charge sheet as far as 26/11 case is concerned. So what their whereabouts is, what can this man really say about how perhaps Pakistan is shielding some of these terrorists? Who are the other planners, handlers, financiers, conspirators? So all that important information, all those important details about the larger conspiracy as far as 26/11 is concerned will be important to know, will be something that the agencies here will be able to extract from this key conspirator, who is Tahawwur Rana.
Right, Radhika, thanks so much for that crucial update. In fact, Sunil, if we could just tell our viewers, what do the next few days, what are they likely to look like for Tahawwur Rana? Then he's likely to spend the initial few weeks in the custody of the National Investigation Agency, as per some reports.
Of course, that is definitely a requirement. Usually the practice is 15 days. It can be extended and carry on, because unless they are satisfied, and as it has been pointed out, a charge sheet has already been filed, supplementary charge sheet in Mumbai. So if that is the case, is it going to be done in Mumbai or Delhi? Because this is a case, a conspiracy against the state, and also has the borders in terms of, from Dubai and various other linkages. As has been pointed out, it's extremely important to get to the bottom of it. It's just not going to be the NIA. There are multi-agencies which will look at various angles and interrogate him. And hopefully they'll get to the bottom of it and be able to pinpoint who the people were from Pakistan who were responsible for this ghastly attack on the Indian state.
Right, Sunil, thanks so much for that crucial update. In fact, Aishwarya is also with us currently. Aishwarya, India and the US, as we know, have been engaged in the case for Tahawwur Rana's swift extradition. In fact, his extradition has been a long pending demand from India, right? Take our viewers through how this entire extradition process has transpired.
Well, definitely the victims of the Mumbai attack had been demanding that there should be an extradition of Tahawwur Rana as soon as possible, and Indian authorities jumped into an action as soon as the petitions were rejected by the US top court. Remember, there was just not once, twice, but multiple occasions that Tahawwur Rana reached to the US top court with his petitions. In fact, in those petitions, he mentioned about if he would be extradited to India, then in the Indian jails he would be tortured. He also mentioned about the on the basis of humanitarian ground that he should not be extradited to India, and there were multiple things that he said in those petitions, but ultimately those all were rejected by the US top court. And as soon as that got rejected, the Indian authorities jumped into an action in a very fast-paced manner. It was the Indian authorities, a multi-level delegation, the officers from the NIA, from the MHA, from the MEA, and from the intelligence reached to the American soil and tried to finish the paperwork, the legal formalities that they need to do with the US counterpart, and without facing any hurdle, they wanted to bring Tahawwur Rana as soon as possible. Now, top sources have indicated to NDTV that Tahawwur Rana is already airborne because it's a special plane that Tahawwur Rana is being brought back to the Indian soil. There would be at one location where the plane will land for refueling today, late night or tomorrow in early wee hours, Tahawwur Rana could be on Indian soil, and he would be directly brought to the NIA court, where he would be presented in front of the judge and will sent to an special NIA jail till he will not be sent to a judicial custody. And Tihar jail is already a high security prison where he would be kept most likely. So clearly all the formalities, the Indian authorities, the multi-level team that has went to the United States had completed so that he could be sent back. But remember, it was United States President Donald Trump when met Prime Minister Narendra Modi in the United States, categorically stated that Tahawwur Rana will be facing the legal system, and he would be brought back to, and he will be sent back to India as soon as possible. And all those hurdles were completed, and finally we will see Tahawwur Rana on the Indian soil by tonight or by tomorrow morning.
Right, Aishwarya. In fact, Radhika, Tahawwur Rana had said that he would not survive long enough to be tried in India, citing that he would be targeted due to national, religious and cultural animosity.
That's right. That's what he had said in the petition filed before the US Supreme Court. Remember, he had filed multiple appeals to escape extradition. So therefore, several reasons had been given by Tahawwur Rana. One, that he will be tortured, he will be attacked, harassed if he's brought to India due to religious as well as cultural reasons. Of course, that was rejected by the US Supreme Court. We know that, as we've been pointing out, highly secure cells have been arranged for Tahawwur Rana, not just in Mumbai, but also in Delhi. In most likelihood, he will first be interrogated by the NIA, after which perhaps Mumbai police would also want to interrogate him. Central agencies will, of course, get the preference as far as interrogation is concerned. As far as, his role is concerned, I've been pointing out about how David Headley had named him and how Tahawwur Rana had been a key conspirator and had facilitated David Headley's stay in the city of Mumbai. And there was a supplementary charge sheet that was filed by the Mumbai police, which also once again speaks about Rana's role, Rana's visit to Mumbai as well, and how he was in touch with not just David Headley, but perhaps handlers as well as the terrorists themselves. And very importantly, as far as this entire trial is concerned, it is only Ajmal Kasab, who is the lone terrorist who was tried by the Indian courts. Of course, he was hanged later. He was the only terrorist who was caught alive and tried by the Indian courts. There hasn't been a main conspirator who has been tried. We know that Abu Jindal was also being tried, but that trial is stalled. David Headley became the approver. He was, of course, examined by the Indian courts, but no big conspirator has been examined or rather questioned, interrogated or tried by any of the Indian courts as far as 2611 attacks are concerned. So he is certainly a big catch for Indian agencies, and Rana's questioning will only help Indian agencies unearth a lot of details as far as, deeper terror networks in Pakistan and other countries are concerned, and also to to understand the larger conspiracy as far as 2611 is concerned. Where are the other big fish? Because there are many names, many people who've been named in the charge sheet, apparently being protected by Pakistan. So their whereabouts will also be something that will be clear once he's examined by the agencies here.
Radhika Ramaswamy and Aishwarya Jain, as always, thank you so much for sharing the crucial updates with us. The extradition operation is being closely overseen by the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, and Tahawwur Rana, as my colleagues have been reporting, is being brought to India in a special plane after he exhausted his legal options in the United States. Vishal Vivek has also been tracking the finer details. Listen in to his report.
Well, it was the testimony of David Coleman Headley that actually nailed Tahawwur Rana, one of the main accused in the 2611 terror case. So what happened was that on October 3, 2009, David Coleman Headley was arrested. And almost immediately after his arrest, he testified against Tahawwur Rana. And immediately after that, the role of Tahawwur Rana was exposed in the 2611 attacks. So what Headley said was, Rana gave some logistical and financial support to Headley. So Headley was visiting Mumbai to do some recce operations. He visited Mumbai for months. He scanned many areas that were supposedly targeted. And what Headley went on to say was that Rana helped in opening an office in Mumbai. So it's been widely reported that Rana had a very successful immigration consultancy agency, and he had used that agency to help Headley. And Headley had posed as Rana's immigration consulting agency firm's agent. And that helped him gain access to a lot of areas that were reportedly attacked, at least 4 to 5 areas, and almost killed close to 200 people. So this is what happened. A series of testimony from David Coleman Headley nailed his role, established Tahawwur Rana's role in this whole conspiracy that killed almost 200 people.